Hey everyone, I'm Paul Thompson, and this is my Project Hell. For the next 20 minutes, Kelly and I are going to throw away the corporate lingo, and we're going to talk no-nonsense project management, and hopefully give you some real plain solutions to real project problems.
And I'm Kelly Schockler. And Paul and I are going to do a few things with you in this next 20 minutes. We're going to make it short and sweet. We'll have a hot topic, which just think of a hot topic as a helpful hack on things that a lot of us struggle with when we're managing our projects. Those useful takeaways that can actually help you be a better PM. And then we're going to have a guest project manager join us in the Coaches Corner, where we're going to apply some in-the-moment coaching to help them solve for their project hotspots. And then if we have time, we'll take up questions that the audience might have dropped into this separate Zoom Q&A feature. And we want to encourage those who are joining us today, use the chat to share your own ideas and thoughts with one another as we're talking about the hot topic in Coaches Corner. So Paul, what are we talking about today for a hot topic?
Hot topic today. I love this one. On time is late.
You love it because you invented it.
Well, it wasn't me, but it actually was adopted within my company as one of our core values. So let's see if we can unpack this a little, right?
Let's do it.
One of the things I love about, the idea of on time is late is I tell people the only thing I can't add to your project or add to this world is time, right? I cannot give you extra time in the day, but I can be on time for all your meetings, and make sure that you get the most out of the time you have. It also shows respect, right? When I show up on time for your meetings, for your events, I'm showing you that I'm ready, right? I'm organized and I am the right choice for this effort to lead the project.
That definitely makes a difference.
Yeah. And these days, with all the distractions and excuses that everybody seems to have, on time just screams, I want to be here. So I'm going to encourage you, be 5 minutes early for every meeting. And I promise you this, it will make you much more efficient in the use of your time, and you'll be surprised about how much more you can get accomplished.
And I think too, not just from the meeting, being the meeting organizer and showing up early, but as an attendee, I know if I can get to a meeting 3 to 5 minutes early, it just gives me that extra time to organize my thoughts. What is my role in this meeting? What am I supposed to be doing here, right? And really getting my arms around the outcome that the meeting organizer wants to have. Another aspect of this on time is late, I think that's really important, is that it builds trust with your stakeholders. They love seeing things a little bit early, even if it's just a half an hour. I know if I'm the stakeholder and I'm getting something a little early, mentally I'm saying, oh, wow, that person is really on the ball here. They're providing this ahead of time, and it's that value add, I think, that contributes to building trust. So I think the thing to be aware of here, if you're thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do everything early? Just start somewhere. I think that's what our advice would be. Just pick one thing. Maybe it's attending meetings or starting your meetings early, and then build on it as you start mastering that concept of being way ahead of time.
And that's a good one, right? You can own starting your meetings on time. One of the problems, though, in a lot of places that, Kelly and I go to, we go to new clients, right? We live in their culture. And not every organization has the same culture of being on time. One of the things that we found as a way to make sure people show up on time and actually early for our meetings that we hold is we start our meetings 10 minutes ahead of time. And we play Trivia Pursuit. And we found a website. It's called randomtrivia.com, right? And it plays just like the game. And we literally ask questions, give everybody an opportunity, whether it's on Zoom, conference call, in person, and we just sort of play it until the time to start the meeting. And then we just cut it off. And initially, it's just me and maybe one other person that I've invited. But before long, everybody starts recognizing that your meetings have a little fun to them, and people start showing up just to play the game. We've had people even didn't need to come to the meeting anymore. They were done, but they still came to play the trivia, right?
Yeah,
Show up
their
for the
competitive
trivia, stick
spirit
around for
was
the meeting.
coming out, right? Their
Yeah.
competitive spirit. Yeah, I just want to second that tool. I've started using it and I love it. It does all the heavy lifting for you. You're just merely running it and the trivia questions are coming up. So I don't know, Katie, can you drop that link into the chat for our attendees? It's random trivia. What was it, Paul?
Randomtrivia.com.
There you go. Thank you. All right, well, let's move into the Coaches Corner. Are you ready for that, Paul?
Sounds good.
And I don't want to rush you if you're not ready. All right, but before we go there, because this is our second episode and people are figuring out what My Project Hell is really about, I just want to take a brief moment to talk about the Coaches Corner process before we introduce today's PM guest and her Project Hell issue. So Paul and I are focused on featuring project managers on this webcast, just like all of you who are here today. And we're trying to build out our guest pipeline for future show. And we know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, 100% that we learn more and better from one another. So that's one of the main points about Coaches Corner. So don't be shy. Send us your Project Hell questions and issues at myprojecthell@gmail.com. We'll put them in our consideration pipeline. And I also want to speak just a minute to some of the concerns we've heard around the idea of talking about hot project issues in a public forum like this. And we want to assure you that we are sensitive to this and we've made some options available to our guests to make them comfortable. And whether it's having your video on or off, your first name, not mentioning your company, whatever works for you. So
we'll put you into the WITSEC program.
Yeah, that's right. Witness protection, for those of you who might not know that acronym. So just consider joining a future show and know that you'll be helping others help themselves. All right, so that out of the way, I want to welcome our guest project manager, Mel. And Mel, hi Mel, welcome. Mel's having, hi. So I'm just going to share the question, then I'm going to have you elaborate. So Mel's having an issue a lot of us have to deal with in projects at one time or another, and that's unaccountable team members. Mel's a project management consultant, and she's having a heck of a time getting her lead business analyst on her team, who's going to ultimately be responsible for the system administrator for an app that they've been putting into place, to take ownership and learn more about that system and to take responsibility. So Mel, again, welcome on My Project Hell. Can you give us some more information about your situation? What's going on that might help us have some insight?
Yeah. Thank you again, Paul, Kelly, and everyone for having me. I'm looking forward to some advice here. So like you mentioned, I'm a consultant, but I'm working on this digital transformation, rolling out this software system to a company across all users. So shoreside, seaside, everything, everyone's touched by the system. And the key thing is, I think, is what's unique to this is that I've been doing this project for over 2 years. So as you could see, Paul, Kelly, because I've been there in one of our team member had made a comment like, Mel, you've been with this company longer than our employees. Because literally,
you're one of them.
But I've been there and there's employees that had came and left and I'm still there. And so I think also the factor that's playing into this is that I think everyone's beginning to see me as an FTE. They're in denial that we're going to break up and I leave. They're in denial of that, but they constantly see me as an FTE. So I think there's like this crutch holding issue as well. But it's a very complex system and it has 4 different modules into this. And we're rolling it out one module at a time. So the company has assigned me my team members, project team members. So it's not that I have a choice who I get to pick from. So I've been given this lead business analyst. And literally, she's really the person that's going to own the system. She's the FTE employee. And I depart, right? And in fact, my end date's coming really close. But she's been with us, with me, with this project for over a year now, going on 2 years. And I just am having such a challenge of her trying to understand the system. For instance, I mean, I provided one-on-one time with her, helping her, showing her how to use the system. She's brought in early to learn the system with the vendors. There's not one single person in the company that has received more training how to use the system than she has. And still, after nearly almost 2 years, there's still many knowledge gaps. She's been in meetings with me. She's the lead business analyst. So she's in every meeting with me, and we have made decisions out of this in our SteerCo meeting, in our advisory meeting, and decisions come out of this. And nearly 1 month later, talking to her, even though I have meeting minutes, even though I post it in our project folder, she would literally say, when did we make that decision? Or how did we know, when did we decide that? So there's just this, at first I thought it was just so much information when she first started with the company, but it's been nearly 2 years. This is her job. She's not on any other project. She is not managing any other system. This is the only system she has to do. And I continue accidentally, unintentionally see the knowledge gap. And it's gotten to the point where she never has asked questions. She's not the type that would go, hey, can you explain this to me? So there's, so I'm guessing, and how I'm seeing these knowledge gaps is when I'm asking her to do things, or when we're in a team discussion, I just find myself like, what? You were in the meeting.
That sounds really frustrating, Mel.
So I continue to have this challenge. At first, I gave it was, the first 6 months was a new hire ramp up excuse, but now I just don't know how do I keep, because ultimately when I depart and I walk around the halls of this company saying, we do break up. This is a long-term relationship, but we have a breakup date. It's me, not you.
Yeah, it's not me. It's not
so
you.
In Paul, as you could imagine, I've been on this project for nearly 3 years. So there's a lot of that attachment, right? I want to leave and know that I left it in good hands. I don't want to cripple the company. They're my clients and I love them and I care about that they're doing this. But how do I get this challenge, overcome this challenge, so I could feel better when I do leave, I've left them with all the tools.
Okay, Paul, you go first.
Okay. Mel, sounds like you have an interesting challenge, right? I'm hearing that you've got a team member who really doesn't have the commitment to taking on the role and responsibility that you feel they need to have. And it could be that they don't have the skill capacity, or they're just whatever, but it's a gap that you've identified. What it sounds like is you've identified a risk, right? There's a big risk that when this goes operational, there's not going to be any support. There's not going to be, the follow-up, the administrative things that are needed. So what do you normally do with risks?
Communicate across our team and have a team discussion and build a mitigation plan for that.
And really, that's kind of where this needs to sort of be looked at, right? Is there's a giant risk. It's not a current risk, on the implementation side as much. A couple of the things that make this really tough is it's a people risk, right? It's easy to point out, oh, well, that software doesn't meet this requirement or whatever, but it kind of feels like, yeah, my sister can't quite do what she needs to, and I'm going to throw her under the bus. So you need to be careful, right? You need to watch out, and you need to know your audience, right? Because sometimes the person that you're talking about might actually be the sister of the person who bought the system, in
you never
small
know.
companies, right?
Yeah.
Family-owned companies. So we really got to know what we're doing. So couple of the things we do is first get extremely clear on what you see the risk is. I mean, you should be able to distill it down to one paragraph, maybe two. And it has to be extremely tight. And you've identified the cost, right? The cost is keeping you on board. Your rate times umpteen months until you guys fix this is what it's going to cost you. So you start to do that. Describe it very matter-of-factly, right? Don't put it in terms of, well, she needs to, or, it's just, this is the problem. This is the recommendation. This is how I see it. Don't point at her, and then provide some options. Because one of the options is they can keep you around, right? They can keep you around indefinitely. They can hire a new person. They can transfer her off to something else, or they can, have a sit down with her. There's a number of options that you probably have been thinking about. So provide those options, put the pros and cons with each option, and any costs that might, anything that might separate it, right? This is the great option, but it costs $10 million. Might not be our favorite one. This is the second best option and it's free, could always be there. So do you think that would be able to kind of help you get a handle on this?
Yeah, I think that'll help. Paul, that's a really great recommendation, because what I have done so far was really actually pointing out what she did, what her expected deliverable was, and what she didn't, and what I ended up doing. And I was bringing this up, and of course, to our project sponsor and her manager, and they really didn't do anything about it.
Right.
But I think what's missing, what you just recommended, is a great idea, because now I have to look at it at the expiration of my date. Here's what this person needs, and what that solution looks like, and what that cost is associated to that. And I think that's a great recommendation, because right now I've just been lost in, how do I help her? But I should start looking at the after date. After I depart, here's what she's going to still need, and what that cost looks like.
And it's tough because we get emotionally attached, right? On long projects, we get emotionally attached to everyone. I mean, they're our friends.
Yeah,
right?
I just want to add something here, Paul and Mel. And it's more kind of it's all human centered. I understand that, but sometimes when we've got our project team are showing some resistance, it's coming from a feeling of inadequacy. And so it might be a nice thing to explore where this person's feeling inadequate and what makes sense in terms of how you engage with her, so you can find that cooperation that you're looking for. So, I don't know, maybe she's got some animosity that may have built up over time, and she's dug in with her perception or story, and there's a high possibility she doesn't trust your intentions. So, how do you overcome that? I would start with an honest conversation, which you may have already done, but just to clear the air, this shows a little vulnerability on your part, which is a key piece of creating trust, and it's a huge step. But really, your job is to just ask some questions and listen for what she needs. Does she need additional training to get more understanding? Does she need more role definition of what her role is going to be when you leave? And what is the expectation for her? What does she need so that she can move into more accountability? And so maybe after you have this conversation, she'll know what she needs and you'll know what you need to do. But ultimately, she's got to do her part on showing a commitment to improve and shift her perspective. Because if you don't get that, her manager has to be made aware, or stakeholders, of the implications her behavior is going to have in that ongoing future support, or rather that lack of support, on adoption and user experience, the viability of the product in that organization. And it seems like this is stuff that you are aware of, and yet, it might be one of the tactics or courses of actions that you take with the risk mitigation.
Yeah, great idea. Another thought just popped in, how it could help kind of combat that feeling of inadequacy is really just being able to have one-on-one meetings with her instead of meetings with the entire group. And I think I'll do that because, and I'll take it from a position like, hey, I'm preparing to depart. And, it's handing off that baton, right? And then when maybe with one-on-one, she'll feel a little bit more open to asking some questions.
Yeah, I like
great,
that,
great recommendation. Thank you so much. I have some new ideas.
Okay, good.
It's awesome.
Oh, this is great. Well, thank you so much for your time and recommendations. I really appreciate this.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Sorry. Thank you, Mel. And do send us a note after you kind of work through it and let us know how it goes. Love to hear the follow-up.
Yes, because our future intention is to have some, after we get down the road with the show, is to say, where are they now? And see how some things resolved. After.
That'd be great. I will do that. Thank you.
Okay, so we are at the end of our time. I don't think we have time for a Q&A. Right?
Probably not today.
Not today. All right, well, let's wrap up this episode of My Project Hell. I want to remind you all, you can catch our replays of our episodes on our YouTube channel. And we invite you to check out metagire.com and kellyshockler.com for more information about the services that Paul and I offer. And if you did have a question in Q&A today that we didn't get to, we want to invite you to hit Paul and I up for a free 30-minute discovery call. We're going to put those links in the post-show email that's going to come your way in about 24 hours.
All right. And I hope you guys did enjoy the show. I know Kelly and I had fun. Join us next time. Our hot topic is going to be Know Your Audience. We touched a little on that. And if you would like to participate in Coaches Corner, drop us an email at myprojecthell@gmail.com. We are always on the lookout for project managers wanting to lift themselves out of their project hell. And in that post-show email that Kelly just spoke of, you're going to receive a survey. Please, I encourage you, fill it out because we all benefit from lessons learned. All right?
Yes, so true.
All right.
Thanks for
Thank you all
dropping by
very
today.
much.
Bye-bye.